You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
From Estero, Florida, this is a One Extraordinary Marriage Show, where being busy is overdone, romancing is fun, and scheduling sex has taken the guesswork out of wondering when you're going to get some. Creators of the 6 Pillars of Intimacy, I'm Tony DiLorenzo, your co-host, along with my beautiful wife, Elisa. From coast to coast and around the world, thank you for joining us. It's time to talk sex, love, and commitment. Give us a call or text us on the Hug Hotline at 858-876-5663, or send us an email to hugs@oneextraordinarymarriage.com. In today's episode, we're talking about what it means to take care of your health as you age and why it matters not just for you, but the future of your marriage.
There's a quote from Rohn that says, "Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live." Mm-hmm. And as we're talking about marriage and what that looks like in today's episode, I just want you to think about that and think about what it would mean to your marriage to take care of your body. We start every episode here at One Extraordinary Marriage with a hug, and this hug actually came from a conversation with a couple that was on this year's 6 Pillars at Sea Marriage Getaway Cruise. And they said, "We came home from this year's 6 Pillars at Sea Marriage Getaway Cruise feeling like something just clicked. We can't even point to one specific moment, but there's been a real difference in our marriage since. Communication has always been our biggest struggle, and now it's so much better. It was just really good for us."
Oh, I love it. I love our 6 Pillars at Sea Marriage Getaway. It's one of the highlights, I think, of the year for myself, probably for you, and for those who join us. We're going to be opening that up very soon. Mm-hmm. And so make sure you keep your eyes out. We would love to have you join us for the 2027 6 Pillars at Sea Marriage Getaway Cruise. It's going to be amazing. And we'll make sure to get you all the details once it's available.
Absolutely. And, as Tony said at the top of this episode, we're talking about what it means to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and your health as you age, because it's not just about you. It's also about your marriage. And there's a conversation that is happening in a lot of marriages right now. And I think, every once in a while, Tony and I get into a spot where we reflect on the fact that, this podcast is 16 and a half years old, which means that we were 16 and a half years younger when we started the podcast.
Yes, we were.
For those of you that like to do math, we were in our mid-30s, and now we're in our early 50s. And so our bodies have changed. We've experienced a lot of aging in 16 years and just, things that come with going from your mid-30s to your early 50s. And a lot of you are kind of in that same stage of life, probably within, 5 to 10 years of where we're at. And so, when we get together at the cruises or when we go do events, like we're talking about aches and pains. We were just with some friends up in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and it was just this funny conversation about shoulders and knees and joints and all this kind of stuff. And so these conversations are happening. But in some marriages, there's a conversation that's not happening, or maybe it's happening more quietly. And it's where one spouse is thinking, I want a future. I want a future with you. I want to be able to travel and enjoy life and be active together. But I'm worried because you're not taking care of yourself.
And I will say this, though, too. I do believe it's physical, mental, sexual. Like when I think of health and what we talk about and what we've heard from people, it's the physical ailments and the physical body, right? And all of us are, since the day we were born, we're going to die. Like
it's an inevitability.
There's going to come a point in time, right? And for some of us, we're dealing with medical health issues younger. Others are living later in life, just with the advancement of medicine and all these sort of things. So we're living longer, but sometimes we're experiencing health issues younger. I think for us and myself in particular, mid-40s, late 40s, mental health, brain fog, all of that. Then we get into sexual health, and that can come at any point in stage in age. So I think when I look at this and how are we staying healthy, those are the 3 I would think about.
Right, because you have this, and sometimes these conversations are spoken out loud. Where one person's saying like, "Hey, I want you. You're not taking care of yourself. I want to have this future with you," and the other one is either thinking or saying, "Hey, like I'm good. I'm fine. This is just what happens when you get older. This is just, this is just the aging process. I'll deal with it later. It's not that bad," or whatever other line you might have circulating in your head. And the truth is, we are all going to age, and we are all going to die. Those two are truths. How your body does that, what decline actually looks like, and the quality of your life, that has a lot of variability.
It does.
In it. And it's how you start navigating this as a couple, and what are those internal, thoughts and beliefs, and what are the external actions that you get into as a couple, because it's easy to be like, you know what, this is just getting older, right? This is what happens in your 50s. Oh my gosh, in your 50s or 60s or 70s or whatever it might be. Or, hey, I hear what you're saying about building a future, about wanting a future with me. How are we going to go after that? What do I have to do? Right? Like we come back to the whole, what can I do that we talk about in 6 pillars of intimacy. If I hear you expressing this concern, what can I do to take action in that, instead of going into this place of, well, this is just inevitable. This is just aging.
This is an interesting topic, I find, for a number of reasons. One, if you ask your spouse, I think you're unhealthy. I think you need to address these issues. I see them.
Wait, what are you asking? You just said if you ask your spouse.
So what I'm saying is, if I ask you,
yeah,
hey, Elisa,
yeah,
I think you need to go do this.
Well, you're making a statement. You are not asking me a question. That's why I'm pushing back right there, and the defensiveness just went up super high.
Correct. And so this is what I'm saying is,
what's the question?
What's the question? It's hard to even ask the question sometimes when we come to this point, because we know our spouse is going to get defensive, or we may look bad for saying something about our spouse.
Okay.
And so what I'm addressing here is this topic of health.
Yeah.
As much as it can feel like just say something to your spouse, is a loaded deal. It's so loaded. And I'm in my own head going, okay, how do I even bring this up to you in a way that doesn't get you defensive?
Because you just did.
I know.
Just so we're clear.
I know. But that's what I'm saying is, how do I bring this up, and how do you even bring it up to me too?
Right.
Because I'm not going to say I'm perfect at this, and I'll even tell the one family, I haven't been to the doctor since probably 2020. I got to a point in 2020 where I was like, I don't want to be around doctors. Not good. I get it. Doctors out there, I love you. I love what you do. Honestly, I do. And yet, for myself, I feel like I'm okay. Nothing major has happened. We're going to rock and roll this thing. So I know that has some concern for you.
Sure.
Again, how do I bring up the concern, the question? I think even asking the question is tough. For me, the way I'm looking at this.
But you're not asking a question. You keep saying asking a question. I'm like, what question is it?
I don't have a question. That's the problem.
Because it's a statement that you want to make. It's not asking a question. Are you healthy?
I think the question is, here's my question.
Okay, good. We're getting there.
We're getting there. Gotta walk around the rock for a little bit here. What is it that you see in your health or in your own self that needs to be addressed? Because if I make the statement, Elisa, I think, because I have my own statements right now, I think you need to do this, this, and this. I know it's not going to go the way
that will not go well.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
but you asked a different question, because you asked. And that's why I was pushing you to ask the question, because you kept saying ask a question, but then you were making a statement. If your question is, what do you want to work on in your health? Period. I mean, you added extra words, but I'm just going to condense that for the sake of,
the coach is coming out.
We have a 25-minute episode. Then that allows me to step into a place of, well, here's what I'm doing right now. I've actually changed my diet because I know that.
No. Let's not go to the solution yet. What do you think are the health issues you need to address?
Yeah. So I know I need to address weight.
Okay.
And I know I need to address building muscle.
Okay.
Those are the two. Those are my two big ones.
Okay. And as your husband.
Yeah.
Then how do I bring those two things up to you without you getting defensive and upset with me for saying, hey, Elisa, you probably need to lose a few pounds here and you need to address what you're taking in?
Well, you should go back to the question that you asked and not how do I put this back in your face? Because the question that you asked was really good. Right?
But I'm not putting it back in your face. What if you're not doing what you said you want to do?
Well, then you have to. Then the two of you have to have a conversation. Then we have to have a conversation to say, "Hey, how can I bring this up to you?"
Okay.
But that's a different conversation, because then if I give you permission to say, "Hey, if you haven't seen me work out this week, just ask me hey, what's going on with your workout schedule this week?" That's a much different question than.
Well, we've been traveling a lot, and you like sleeping in.
I do. I got to get back on my schedule, which is why I was giving you a solution before. Is that now that we're done with massive travel, like we had been the last 2 months, went back to just a nutrition plan that really does work better for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing that this week we're back in, and I'm okay, back on what I know works for my body.
Yeah.
I have not, with the week back, have not picked up my exercise again because I have been enjoying sleep because it's been a little crazy. Not that should be an excuse. Exercise actually helps sleep. So I'm choking on my own words as I say them out loud. But I think it's that asking the question, hey, do you have any concerns about your health? What do you want to focus on?
No, I don't. What if that's the response? No, I'm fine. And you're looking at your spouse and you're going
no, you're not.
No, you're not. Because I know you and I have been sitting on this for a bit.
Do you have concerns about my health?
I think you have concerns about mine too.
So can I interject what happened in the airport when we were flying through Chicago about the colonoscopy?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Sure. I no, if we're talking about it, then let's be open, honest, and transparent about it. I would say you and I have danced around this a bit.
We
recently.
have, and I'm gonna, the other part of the transparency with you all, and Tony mentioned it. COVID did a number on us and on the two of us specifically, and just going to doctors and that type of thing and hearing about medical appointment. I know I have internalized, I don't want to go to a doctor and I don't want to be forced to do something and I don't want to be told this. And I also want more than 7 minutes with a doctor.
I amen to that. That's part of the reason I don't want to go
because
it's
I just,
7 minutes
and I also
I
just don't want to, I don't want prescription drugs.
True.
Right. Those are some things that we have really and we were in California during COVID, and I know there are wonderful doctors in California, so I'm not poo-pooing anybody that's a doctor in California, but that is just a lot of what we internalized. And so,
and there, Elisa brings up a very good point. The last time I went and saw a doctor, it literally was 7 minutes. He was 30 years old, spent no time with me, and it was rather frustrating to me.
I remember that appointment.
And I literally walked out of there and I looked at him and I'm like, that was one of the worst consultations or worst appointments I've ever had with a doctor, and left. And truthful, and I get it. Our medical system is a mess. I get it. We've tried alternative stuff. We are doing, we don't even have medical insurance. We have a medical share plan, So there are some things that I think internally you and I face. These are personal deals that we're working through and have that also determine how we get medical care. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to say this to some of you. You guys work somewhere. You pay medical insurance. You got great medical insurance. You've seen your doctor. You need your doctor. You've gone through cancer. You've gone through other diagnoses. You have a medical care professionals around you who are supporting you. Amen. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. This is how different life circumstances mm-hmm. impact our marriages, and each and every one of us individually. And I hope you hear that I'm not saying anything wrong. We got some dear friends right here in Southwest Florida. Amazing urologist. Awesome. Personally not going to go see him. He's a buddy of mine. Don't need him, just don't need him looking at those sort of things and then go and have Thanksgiving dinner with them. Right. So, but as you can see, many of us are in our marriages, and what we experience is different than others. Mm-hmm. But we can ask those questions. We can make those statements to engage our spouse, which is, even for Elise and I, doing it right now.
Yeah, and this is, like you said, it's a conversation we've been needing to have. I'm so glad you all get to listen to it. It was funny because when we were flying through O'Hare was, this last visit was just full of all kinds of conversations, because we had this conversation with someone and, learned that spouse was a radiologist, and suddenly we're talking about like doctor's visits and things like that. And all of a sudden she's like, have you had a colonoscopy?
Nope. And in my head, I'm like, nope, and I'm 52.
And so, nope. It's now we're into this conversation about colonoscopies and taking care of your health and doing all this kind of stuff. And I know how Tony feels about the idea of a colonoscopy, and I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh, go there. See if he'll push back, and what that looks like. Because
I just have that resistance, and I'm like, hey, you can email me all you want. Tell me how awesome it is for you and how wonderful it was. And maybe that will help me to understand and see the benefits of it. Have I had it yet? I have not. After that conversation, it really made me go, okay, I need to go find a urologist. And,
the urologist is not going to do your colonoscopy.
Oh yeah, that's a different.
But you do need a urologist.
I do need a urologist as well. But I do need to find a doctor.
And you have a referral for a urologist. You just haven't taken advantage of that yet.
This is true.
But this is why we have these conversations, right? Because getting into this place of like, what are the resistances? And that may be the actual question that we need to dig into. Why do you have a resistance? What are the concerns about going to a doctor? What are you worried about? What are those beliefs that you're holding right now? Because at the end of the day, and I will tell you this straight to your face, Tony DiLorenzo, I do want you around for a good long time.
I'm going to be here for a good long time.
But I need you healthy to do that.
I know.
I want the quality of our years, not the quantity of our years. And for a lot of you, that's the same cry that you have for your spouses. And we need to talk about what comes next, and we'll do that after this break.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
So we're back, and we're having a bit of a feisty conversation here around health and defensiveness and how to bring up things, and the reality that we all want long quality years with our spouses. And sometimes the choices that we're making, whether it's out of fear or concern or not having a doctor or not knowing where to turn or worries. I mean, I have to think, and I'm probably going to push a button here. I have to think that knowing that your dad died early also keeps you out of doctor's offices.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely that, oof. So yeah, I mean, Dad died at 69, and most of my uncles were in that younger, I think the oldest was maybe 73, 74 when he died. So yeah, I mean, it keeps me in that spot of I don't want to be that. I'd love to live into my 80s.
So I have a lot of 90-ish on my side.
You do. You're on the other side of it. Dad on your side is 80.
My dad is 80. Well, my dad will turn 81 this year. My 81. Mom will turn 80.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of extended family who have made it well into their 90s.
That's that Puerto Rican blood.
It's clearly longevity.
Well, how long did your abuela last?
I think both of my dad's parents were in their 90s when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got like massive longevity. That's a financial intimacy, just making sure that your spouse is taken care of. Like that goes into your financial intimacy of like, hey, do you have, long-term health care? Do you have your insurance plans set up? Do you have like your trust, your wills? That's a whole nother deal as we get older and even younger, dealing with medical issues. I mean, are those things that are in place so your spouse can feel secure in the event that you do pass earlier on? My mom is living well and healthy, so I hope and I'm praying that I have her genes. One thing I'd love for us to just jump into, though, and as we're talking about this, and it's making me sweat a little bit, honestly. It's a conversation that's much needed even in our own house. But how does this conversation, how does our health, both physical, mental, sexual, impact our 6 pillars of intimacy? I mean, let's go back to the framework.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I could even go through this and look and go, how's that impacting us right now in our 6 pillars? And if so, what is it that needs to be done so that those pillars can be strengthened by looking at the problem, right? Which is health on both of our sides.
Sure.
And moving forward in a way that we can go like, this is really good. Like we're excited about what's ahead.
Well, you can have cracks in your emotional intimacy when these conversations aren't happening, right? When maybe there is fear of, how is your health? I mean, I think about the fact that your dad died at 69. That is.
Oh yeah, that sits in the back of my mind.
That's in the back of my head, and I think less than 20 years, no way. Like take care of yours. I want more than 20 years.
Okay.
With you, but if we don't talk about it, right? Like I've never told you that your dad dying early is a concern of mine. And so there is that potential for those cracks, right? Like your spouse's family history, at what age or what the health conditions were, or how they're taking care of themselves or not taking, and so you can have those cracks in emotional intimacy because things aren't being said, or maybe there's frustration or resentment, and it starts to become this chasm between the two of you of we're not talking about that.
Yeah, and what I would say, I pray that this episode is a blessing to you, the one family, to get that emotional intimacy, that communication around a heavy topic, to start opening it up, right? Again, Elise and I are not perfect. We're walking this journey of marriage just like you are. And when Elisa actually brought up this episode, she's like, I'd really love to talk about this. There was a part of me inside that was just like, yes, because we need to have this conversation. And I think for Elisa and I, when we get behind our microphones, a lot of the conversations begin now. It's how we've communicated for 16 and a half years. And so it brings up that, let's have this conversation. Physical intimacy, what happens there?
I think, what I've seen and what I've heard and, even experience, I think within our marriage is that, if your energy is low, if you aren't feeling good in your body, like the desire for touch or to initiate that non-sexual touch can drop, right? Because you're just like, I don't feel good. Don't touch me.
During perimenopause, many women can get, because of the
true story
with the hormones and all the things that are happening, that becomes something that once was desired. Now there's certain touches, or many touches, that honestly create like a reaction,
and not a good one,
a negative reaction. Yeah. So it almost pushes you away because you're like, oh, that hurts, or that, because you've talked to many of wives who have gone through that with different sensation,
like their body's doing all kinds of stuff. And so you can have this disconnect in your physical intimacy. I mean, you touched on financial intimacy. I mean, there are a lot of concerns in today's day and age with the cost of healthcare, with the cost of treatments, with, whether you're looking at alternative methods or traditional, like all of that, like there are a lot of dollar signs. And so, people will avoid taking care of themselves because there's a price tag to it. And I remember hearing years ago.
One of my biggest concerns when it comes to financial intimacy and health is medical bankruptcy. Basically, you've hit a point where the cost of care is so out of control, there's no way in heck we're paying for it, that we're going to lose everything. And like for me, when I look at financial intimacy and I think of health and all of this stuff, I honestly think of like, holy crap, man, there is no way, like Dad's care for cancer, they had amazing insurance.
Yeah.
It covered everything pretty much. We have none of that. It literally, we would have medical bankruptcy. We just wouldn't be able to pay it back. So that's financial intimacy. So I think those are things that need to be discussed and shared. How about spiritual intimacy?
I think, one of the things that happens when there are health crises or when you're thinking about your health, I actually think on some level, this is probably the one that gets strengthened, because maybe when you can't have those conversations, you're praying that God will actually intercede, that there will be a lightning bolt moment, or, God just give them an encounter to have that wake up call. So I think this is the one that probably individually, you're pressing into your faith more. But as a couple, I think it's one that can be stressed, because you're like, God, I don't know how to pray for my spouse because they aren't taking care of themselves. Right. I don't know what that looks like. And I don't know how to, like you said, I don't want to have the conversation. God, give me the words to speak, because I don't want to have the conversation and put them in a place of defensiveness. I want them to hear my care and concern. I want them to hear that I want you to be like, I want to have this future with you. And so God, give me the words, because so many times when I've brought up this conversation, it has not gone well. And I don't want to not go well. I want to actually have an impact, and I want us to be working towards this together. Yeah.
How about recreational intimacy? I mean, this is our activity, our fun pillar. What does that look like when we look at our health, and as at any stage when we're dealing with health?
It can suffer, and straight up, like if you can't move your body, you're gonna have to get creative on the things that the two of you can do.
Yeah.
Right. When you can't walk, or it's
interesting you even say that, just can't walk. I just think of some folks that I know, and knee replacements.
100%.
Right? Like these things impact your ability as a couple to possibly have fun if that's something you like to do. You're moving, you're doing stuff, this, that, and the other. And so it's recreating fun. Is it Monopoly deal? Is it something where it's a board game? Is it just, hey, you can do some gaming together, like engaging one another though in the fun? Right. Like not just all by yourself. And when I say gaming, just sitting on your phone, playing a game by yourself while your spouse sits on the other side. It's one that, is it just putting on music and laughing and listening to it and, talking about where it brings you or what you remember about it. You know what I mean? Something of that nature. It's, how do we have fun? And I think of this one a lot too, just having talked to so many people. When we mention recreational intimacy, the word that comes up more often than not is, how do we laugh together again? What is it we can do to laugh?
Because when you're dealing with health challenges, that's something that, it can become so serious all the time. And you can forget that fun, even in the midst of a crisis or a chronic condition, fun is still a vital part of your marriage. And, it might just be sending memes back and forth to each other because it puts a smile, but getting into that place of looking at where are the potential cracks in that, and then what do we do? And same thing with sexual intimacy.
Yeah, the last pillar, the sexual intimacy pillar.
If you aren't taking care of yourself, I mean, this goes all the way back to when you first read the penis book, right? I remember you read that and, was so you were so fascinated with all of the hydraulics and the math. I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but like the masterpiece,
the masterpiece of the penis.
Yes, and the hydraulics and the cantilevers and all of that language that was in there, and you're
it's the most amazing
machine
ever.
Yes. Anyway, my point in bringing that book up is I remember when you read that, and then you read at the end when he talked about just how to make dietary changes for penis health. And you remember you saying, you know what, I'm like, kind of like, whatever. I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to try it for like, I don't know. I think you went 30 days. And I remember you're like, oh, there's something to this. Right. And not that we were like in a bad spot sexually, but you were noticing changes in the quality of your erections and the like penis health. And so you're like, okay, well, how is that impacting our sexual intimacy? And I think, you know, we could be talking about vaginal health or penis health, but we could also be talking, like Tony said, you know, what's the physical and emotional, mental health that might be impacting your sexual health and your sexual intimacy. Like these things, like our bodies, this is what we live in.
Yep.
You guys, and the connection between husband and wife. Like, remember you said on your wedding day, some variation of I do. Right? You said that. I know, because we have been to enough weddings. It's pretty standard language in there. There was no exclusion on that. So I'm going to encourage you, coming out of this episode, what do you need to say I do to for your spouse and your health? Where can you say, I will? Where can you say, I'm going to step into this and do it? Right? It's why when Tony's like, well, you know, what about what you're doing? And I'm like, look, I've started on my, like, I know because I had to, because I wasn't feeling well. And I feel so much better. I'm the only one in my family that eats the way I do, and it's totally fine. And I make separate meals, and I'm good with it because I have to go, like I've just learned over the years, I have to go more vegetable-based, more plant-based. Alex thinks, our son thinks I'm absolutely bonkers. I have to tell him I still get my protein. It's all good, dude. It's all good. But I have to do that because that's what works for me. And I'm going to encourage the two of you this week, like, figure out what works for you, but please start doing this for your spouse, because we get the emails on the backside when a spouse dies, and people have to, you know, choose to unsubscribe, which is totally fine. Like, I get it. We're a marriage, you know, ministry. And so it makes sense that, you know, if you've lost your spouse, you don't feel like you can listen to this anymore. We want you to have so many good years with your spouse. And maybe you'll hear it from Tony and I talking about it in a different way than if your spouse were to bring it up again. And I don't care if you hear it from us or you hear it from your spouse. I don't care, as long as you will step out this week and next week and the week after and say, I love you so much. I'm going to do everything that I can do to take care of myself, for me and for you.
Yeah. And believe you me, Elisa and I are there. And we're part of the journey that you guys are on as well. Right? Sometimes I feel like the aches and pains, it's like almost like a little whack-a-mole going on. Like, what aches and pain do I have right now? And which one do I need to really address? But I want to just say thank you to each and every one of you for allowing us to share and to show the side that I think a lot of us don't want to even mention. It's like, I'm hurting. There's some things I haven't done what I need to do, but that's part of life. You know what? It's part of life. We get back up, keep moving forward, keep doing the best that we can, but knowing that for us here at One Extraordinary Marriage is that you're strengthening those pillars of intimacy. And if we look at our health, and I just loved going over that with Elisa, because it just made me go, oh, there are some things that she's saying there that I'm realizing that my hard-headedness and my resistance to something really needs to shift for myself. And as she said, I hope it will do the same for you. You guys, we're truly honored and blessed to have you part of the One family. There's no better place. There's no better people in the world than the One family. And we have been blessed to see so many of you all over the world over the last few months. And we're excited to see many more of you. It's truly an amazing community. And I hope we get to see you soon. Look at your health. I know many of you are facing bigger things than we even talked about here today. But know that you have two people here in Southwest Florida pressing in, praying for you, and knowing that you are creating your extraordinary marriage. You guys have yourselves a fantastic week. Love you guys.